Matthew here from MiniWarGaming. We're back for more of the Apocalypse Rulebook review. Shiny, shiny, shiny. Available only in hardcover. And so far we've talked about the new rules, new formations, new strategic assets. We've talked about the new weapons and all of that and my opinions on that. The last thing I want to talk about is a really cool aspect of this game, which is the Warzone Armageddon. And this is where they basically detail a huge campaign between the Orcs and the Imperium. And you've probably heard of Armageddon, the Battle for Armageddon. It's one of the most famous 40k apocalyptic level campaigns in their lore, at least unless you delve deeper into all the other books, which I have not, by the way. So the one thing I like about the Apocalypse books, including the old rule book, is the eye candy. I'm glad for one thing that they made this a regular size book. The old rule book used to be like the large ones, and that was cool to make it look like an Apocalypse book because, you know, the book is even larger than life. It's kind of like when you go to Costco and their parking spots are bigger than everybody else's parking spots. But I do prefer the regular size so it fits on the shelf with everything else. It's not nearly as annoying. And the one thing I really like I said, is the eye candy. When you open up the book, you'll find all sorts of foldouts. So let's see if I can find one right away. The trick is turning to the right page. Here we go. Right at the beginning, when you turn the page, you get... I say there's all sorts, and then it takes me a minute to find one. Right, here we are. So you get things like this. You can't see it. You can't really see it that well, and that's fine. You got to buy the book so you can enjoy them. But you just get to open it and look at it and go, I want all of those. Now, of course, theirs are just kind of lined up like parking lot style, but some of them are from campaigns. And so the other thing I like is all the extra kind of narrative stuff that they add into it. Because really, when it comes down to Apocalypse, like I said in the past videos, it's not meant to be played like a tournament. If you have an Apocalypse tournament, that's just an oxymoron. You don't have Apocalypse tournaments. They just don't work together. You can try to do it, but there's always going to be that guy who will just load up on one of the things that's super powerful. You don't want that. And that goes for other things too. If you're saying, but Matthew, somebody can just bring all these vortex missiles, and it's like, well, then don't invite him. Or make a rule that says that you can't. I know for Apocalypticon, we've had to throw in a few house rules to ban some certain formations and certain things, because while they might work in a friendly game, on a larger scale, they just don't do as well. Or there's just some of them that I think are absolutely ridiculous, and I really hate them. The Chaos Conclave, for example, and anything like that that just kind of ruins everybody else's day. We like to get rid of those things. And so feel free to do that with your friends as well. If somebody's going to be an idiot and just bring like 10 of one thing that's really awesome, you say, no, you can't do that. And he's like, well, I want to. And you say, well, then you can't play with us. That's just what it comes down to. So same thing for all of this. We got all these cool stories and campaigns. And this one, Armageddon, what they actually do is they go through, first off, all the lore. So we open up the book and we see all sorts of things, like the actual star systems. We see the movement of the troops, and it goes through the story of it. We've got lots of cool pictures. Now this is a picture from the old Apocalypse rulebook, actually, which is kind of neat that they included that. The whole version of it. You only see part of this in the other one. And they just go through all sorts of really neat, interesting fluff, all the lore that makes the game really come alive. But here's where it gets really cool. When you turn to page 250, they actually, sorry, not 250, it starts at page 244, they actually give you the rules for the campaign. So they give you a series of missions that range from just the Orcs getting driven out to one part, to the Orcs invading another part, to the Imperium trying to kill the Orcs in other parts. And of course, we got a nice big fold out right here showing all the new massive fortifications. So they show you what these campaigns can look like. Of course, you can scale them to whatever size that you want, and you can even change it so it's no longer Armageddon. It could be like Tyranids versus Imperium, or Tau versus Eldar, or whatever it happens to be that you and your friends collect. But they go through the assets that each side is supposed to have, the strategic reserves that each side is supposed to have, even the armies that are typical to this. Now, obviously you won't have exactly what they have, and you'll have to make modifications. But they go through this, and they even talk about how reserves come in, and they even have special unique terrain features, like the gropeweed and the Hell's Reach monster and the toxic ash. They each have their own special rules. So they really show you what you can do with Apocalypse. Heck, what you can do with 40k in general, or any other gaming system out there. You can really go all out and completely make your own rules. But it's nice when they're official, because then you can just kind of pick it up and play. Whenever I played D&D, I loved playing the pre-made missions. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, you got to make your own. And that's true if you have a lot of time. I didn't. I just wanted to play. And so as the dungeon master, or the games master, I didn't have a lot of time to organize it, so I would like to buy the pre-written stuff. So I find that the more stuff like this that they can give us, the more fun we can have. So we have like the Armageddon unnatural disasters, so huge things happen on the planet itself. And then we got another mission, another mission, another mission. These are all different deployments, different victory conditions, and we even have unique strategic assets to this campaign. And so it encourages you, when you make your own campaign, you don't have to stick with their strategic assets. You can make your own. Heck, you can make your own formations. You can make your own super heavies. You can make your own gargantuan creatures. If you wanted to take something out of the 40K lore that they've never made something for and make it, you can do that. You have to worry about balance a little bit, maybe look back on some other data sheet or formation and maybe copy it a little bit and then make modifications. But otherwise, as long as your friends agree, it can be a lot of fun. And yeah, and then they even have the data sheets for the Imperium Reaver Battle Titan, the Imperium Warhound Scout Titan. We've got the Heroes of Armageddon formation, and the Imperial Guard Armageddon Stompa Hunters. So there's a bunch of Sentinels. And so we got all sorts of formations here for this campaign specifically, as you can see through here. Black Templars, and we got a Firestorm Nexus, where it gets all special rules for using the new what do you call those guys? Firestorm. Yeah, they're the Firestorm cannons. So there's like a bunch of last cannons basically. And then even they got some formations for the orcs as well as the orc stompas. Big mech stompa. And we got the Carnage Squadron with a K, of course, and a W rather than a Q and a U. The Orc Stomper or Stormer Elite. All sorts of, like there's a ton of stuff just for this one campaign. So you can just think about what it is that you will be able to do with your own Apocalypse campaigns. Now this comes to a conclusion of the Apocalypse Rulebook review. I hope that you've enjoyed these videos. I hope that you pick up this book. If you play 40K, you should own this book. That is really what it comes down to. There's just too much goodness in here to not get this. You might not agree with all the rules that they do. I don't agree with all the rules that they did. I don't agree with all the changes that they made. But overall, I think this is a really good improvement over the old Apocalypse rules. And I'm a big fan of Apocalypse because I think it's just the way the game was actually meant to be played. It was meant to be played with everything, not these small 1,500 or 2,000 point armies. You got to play with 10,000 or 20,000 points on each side. Or if you come to Apocalypticon, 300,000 points on each side. Or, you know, eventually we'll do 1 million fully painted, maybe next year. So I hope that you enjoyed this review of the Apocalypse Rulebook. Stay tuned for even more videos. We'll definitely be doing some Apocalypse battle reports. Not a lot of them, just a few, because they take forever to do. And we've got to make lots of battle reports for you guys to enjoy. This is Matthew from MiniWarGaming. Happy wargaming.